How's everybody doing? It's just me, your brother, deciding to try to, talk to you about a couple things. Might even get a few references. So, uh, come over here real quick. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How's everything going out there? Alhamdulillah. Um, I'm going to be starting a series of Tawheed series, and then we're going to get into some other subjects that need to be getting into. You already know how it goes with me. If you happen to see the baby in the background, or hear the baby in the background, that's my little one. The times I'll be doing this is mostly when I'm at home. You might see a few of them when I'm out and about, and you probably hear the downstairs, the person next to me, bumping. But it's just some things I want to bring up, and then I'll be getting, the proof for what I'm saying, But it's a nice day, I was out there and had to come in for a little bit, and do this little thing. I walk around and I interact with people, and I be talking, and they say a lot of interesting things, and I be wanting their opinion, because it's good information for you to get back. And there's a thing that's going on right now where um, excuse me, where a person is trying to say basically there ain't no God, and person has a lot of influence, and so I'll be addressing that, because no one's ever seen a man in the sky, and this is for all those. First, let me tell you something. I follow the Quran. I do go by. I do read tafsir. I do read hadiths. I also, research on my own in the Quran, and I'll read other stuff too. Like the Quran says, go throughout the land and see what was the end of those who did wrong. And the Arabic word that is used there is dhum. And dhum means when you take something at its base meaning when you take something from its right aspect or right place and put it wrong. So in this case it would be, people who took Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the concept of Allah, and put it in the wrong manner. You see what I'm saying? Which inevitably led to shirk, or have some minor deities associated with Allah, or was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then they made them into different gods. Or took a noble person, a royal person, and anthropomorphized that person, or took that person and made them into a deity. Or took an aspect of nature and anthropomorphized that into a story, and then it became a deity. So you have this throughout all the history, and I'm here to let you know that right now my focus, the Quran tells you very clearly, to fight against the oppressors. The Quran tells you very clearly to enjoin what is right, forbid what is wrong. And I know of no other people, excuse me, could have paused that, but this is real life. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. I'm not Hollywood. I don't try to, do the little dressing up and all that stuff, because I'm trying to be, I'm trying to, it's present the way it is, and that's the only way you're ever going to get solutions in life, if you present stuff the way it is, what I'm saying, so you can find out what the solution is to that. But my aim, in the lectures is that to call attention to the oppression on black/African people worldwide. Because we are the most oppressed. And it seems like a lot of people, when they come into Islam, we get rid of, wanting to know about the oppression of African people, black people, period. When I say black, I mean African. And I include all black people, even African Americans. So when I say that, I include them. I include that too. As for what I'm wearing, that's not no gang thing or nothing like that. Some people like, oh man, this is banger or something like that. Oh, that's another subject. It's just right now it's kafara. It's something that you wear on your head. It's something that you cover. The colors are relevant. They do symbolize red, black, and green. Red is for the blood of some of African people that have been shed unjustly and oppressed, and even the bloodshed that may have to occur in order for our liberation to occur. You know what I'm saying? Black is for, of course, the race, which is the original color from which all shades stem from. This right now is just basically more of a talking, but in later on the series, I'll be presenting my proofs, evidence, like the Quran say if you bring your proof of what you say is the truth. So I'll be doing that. That's no problem at all. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. But that's the focus, because when you become Muslim, it seems like brothers don't want to pay attention to that. But the first thing they'll yell is Palestine or Pakistan. You will yell other. I'm gonna give you an example. You will yell other people, but as soon as a person mentions black or Africa, it's like this shield goes up. You have to question that, because you come from a qaumi. Qaumi in the Arabiya means people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made all nations into qaumi wa qabiltu. Okay? Peoples and tribes. Some people try to translate families and people, or tribes and clans. Either way you take it, you come from something like that. And so it's sad that you will pay attention to everybody else, Muslim or not, but you won't pay attention to the qaumi that you come from. Getting rid of oppression starts in your own house and in your own people. Just like implementing what is right starts within your own house and among your own people. The Prophet ﷺ, all the prophets that was sent to the people to get rid of the issues of oppression that they were doing, or they were inflicting. You see what I'm saying? Or was being inflicted on them even, or they were inflicting on themselves, or the rich against the poor. Either case, you must recognize the problem, but you don't even know what the problem is. So if you don't know what the problem is, then you don't know the solution to bring to the problem. You see what I'm saying? And no, for the record, I'm not Nation Islam or Moors, Science Temple, or none of that believes that the black man is God or the black woman is God in the sense, I believe in a creator who's unseen. You see? And I do believe the ayatin, or the ayats or signs in the heavens and earth, the sun is one of the most biggest ayats. You see what I'm saying? So I need to take those as ayats, signs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But at the same time, you have to recognize, you have to do your part. How can you call yourself the best evolved for mankind and you don't do this out? You understand what I'm saying? You can't say that. A person that neglects his own but looks at everybody else's is wrong. They're wrong. They're doing dhum, which is the word that I forgot to mention. They're taking what is right in the right place to what is wrong. When you don't stand up for your people, our people have been murdered by the dozens. Sneak attacks are being made, just like Iblis, with deception. It's not outright. Some of it is, but it is cloaked and hid behind deception and smiles. Akhi? And, like, for example, in Delaware, 2012, people were getting hanged. All these people getting hanged mainly are black. And one of them was a Muslim. That was attempted to get hanged. A black brother that's a Muslim. He follows traditional Islam, if that's what you want to call it. Ahlus Sunnah wa Jama'ah, I believe he is. You see? So, two brothers, and his name is you can look it up even on YouTube. Delaware lynchings, 2012. They passing it off as suicides. A pamphlet was going around talking about cleaning up the streets one nigger at a time. So let me ask you a question, Akhi. Just because you Muslim, does that mean they're not going to target you? You can say, I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's good. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants more than just your fear. He wants you to actively to go against those who oppress. And you can't do that when you ignore a black problem or African problem that's been going on. That's continuously been going on. It was even going on in the Ottoman Caliphate period. In the Abbasid Caliphate period. You haven't studied that history. This is a continuous issue. Even some of our own Muslim brothers did it. Who were Caucasian, who were Turks specifically, who were Persians specifically. They oppressed the African Muslim. You know what I'm saying? Jalal ad-Din al-Rumi, in the 13th century, he even said a poem. As we know in Islam, the poets, often they, literary skills, eloquent skills were the thing. But this is in Jalal ad-Din al-Rumi way after the time of Rasulullah in the 13th century. And he wrote a poem about how the Ahlul Bayt, or the Prophet Muhammad's family and descendants, were being oppressed by the Abbasids, who had started to look like Romans because they had mixed so much with the Romans, that they started oppressing a lot of the Prophet Muhammad's descendants and family because of the darkness of their skin, because of their black skin. So this issue is not just it's not just an issue that happened now. You know what I'm saying? The fact of the matter is, Africa is full of rich resources that the world needs. Cobalt, go look it up. COBALT. That's what's needed to make the jets work, this phone work, computers work. You know what I'm saying? The kuffar, those who are the deviant, their aim, they don't care about your deen or your religion as long as it doesn't get in the way of what they're doing. Their aim is to procure wealth and resources to use it to oppress, and they will oppress you to get it. And unfortunately, the majority of the nations that have always had a track of doing that are Western, i.e. Europeans, i.e. whites. Again, no, I'm not a nation of Islam, but that's the fact. You have to take the Quran for reality, akhi. When it mentions this world, you must look among the population of worlds and say, which culture does this the most? Which culture has been involved in this the most? From the Crusades, that was Europe, all the way to the modern times, going into, you know what I'm saying, the Muslim world, that's the West, or Europe, America, Europe. It just seems like as that culture starts to spread, other nations get influenced and develop that mentality, and then they participate. But it's always them that is the driving force. Always European culture that is the driving force. You look even before the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came. Rome and Persia was invading where? They had control of most of the world. Rome and Persia, Europe, Europeans. Indo-Aryan, or you see, or Indo-European or Aryan European, West or East Europe. It's a fact, akhi. The Mongolians, you read the Hadith, it tells you Gog and Magog. Gog and Magog is what? Or Yajuj and Majuj. Europe. Akhi, you got to put it in reality. You have to, and if these same individuals have come into the deen, which they have, some of them carry, or many of them carry, their prejudiced viewpoints, and I have some documentation on that. They even have hadiths that talk bad about blacks. You see, they infiltrated the deen during the time of the Abbasid and even dropped some hadiths that are racist. And you got Muslims that go by that. Don't believe everybody that smiles in your face out, because that was the trick of the shaitan. That was the trick of Iblis. And Iblis is in the flesh too. He walks among you. And he smiles. And he's deceptive. Saying that he's your sincere well-wisher. But in the end, only thing he means for you is hate, is subjugation. And oppression. And exploitation. Him benefiting from you. You participating. You said, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Muslim. Yes, you're a Muslim. But now, the person that you're calling for Khalifa, is he an exploiter? Does he come from that culture? Has he turned his back on that culture? You have to understand the world is in cultures. The world is divided into cultures. And cultures are divided among tribes and nations. Okay? And even expands onto a culture, a continental culture. All the European nations correlate with each other, and then along the divided lines, and among the Arabs, you know what I'm saying, you got Caucasian Arabs and you got black Arabs, and the Caucasian Arabs will oppress the black Arab, and then a black Arab who thinks that the Caucasian Arab is the original Arab, which is not. The original Arabs were Cushites. Cushite Arab, you can go look that up. Cush in Arabia. It's not that hard, akhi. You can even look inside of our own literature when it talks about Ismail migrating into Arabia, and the tribes there existed were Cushite Arabs. They were black Arabs, like the tribes of Ad and Thamud. That's talked about in the Quran. Okay, and then Ismail came in, and Ismail himself is actually really deep down a Cushite Arab too, because for the simple fact Ismail's mother Hajar, is Egyptian, some people say, Nubian, others say, but the fact either or way is still quote unquote aswad, black. Okay, and if you trace the other side, when they came from Babylon or Order of Chaldea, some people say, before them the Akkadians migrated from where? Arabia. And this Cushite Arabia, Semitic Cushite Arabia, okay? And they migrated down and they contributed to Babylon and, Sumer, and, the word Illah became over that way pronounced Ilu. See what I'm saying? And then later on, generation down the road, Ibrahim alayhi salam is born. And then, he's pronouncing it El. Hence the Canaanite understanding, El. Okay? And then, but in it all, the word Allah stems from Arabia. Okay? Cushite Arabia. Okay? And so the variations of words came later. El, Ilu, Allah, Allah for Aramaic, or Allah for Aramaic, or, etc. like this. That's why you find Ibrahim going into Arabia. That's why you find Musa alayhi salam going into Arabia, Mount Sinai. You find, even in the New Testament, if some people believe in that, you find Paul going into Arabia learning 3 years what he learned, instead of going with, the apostles in Jerusalem. See what I'm saying? The fact of the matter is this. All of this stems back to Kush Arabia, which is black. So my point is that you've had Persians and Romans and Greeks who come into the deen, and even they use a race-based benefit exploit system. And you have to watch out for that, akhi. You can't just say I'm just Muslim and then not watch out for that. Otherwise you fall what our forefather Adam alayhi salatu salam fell into. Being tricked by the shaitan. If a person is your brother, he should not exploit you. If he exploits you, you have to address that. The Akhdam, I think it's called Al-Mushawin, something like that. The original Yemeni. Some people say they migrated from Abyssinia and stuff like that. No, they're the original Vedadoid stock. That's what they call it, Vedadoid stock. But they're the original Yemeni Arab. They're black. But they're oppressed in Yemen. Muslim country. Iraq. Black Iraqis. They're oppressed in Iraq. Racism against blacks all over, in the Muslim world, in the West, and the East. It must be addressed. We're the longest oppressed. Whether you're Muslim, Christian, Jew, it doesn't matter. Okay? India, the untouchables, what is the name of them? Dravidians. They're oppressed. They're original, black individuals that dwell in that land. So we have to understand, okay, oppression is happening on all different levels, and it does come on color level. It's beautiful that you've discovered the deen, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. But this deen tells you must stand up against oppression. You must enjoin the right. You must forbid the wrong. They are the ones that attain felicity. You cannot do that if you are closing your eyes to the racism. If you act like it's not there. If you go into fantasy la la land, saying, oh, well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm Muslim, alhamdulillah, I mean, this brother's my brother, this is my sister, alhamdulillah, there's Muslims against everybody else. Yeah, you leaving the back door open for you to get oppressed by your so-called brother. Is he exploiting you? Does he get more out of something than you get? As far as a group concerned. You have many brothers, they come into the masjid. Us on the economic level, we're the lowest. We have to address that. But you can't address it until you get rid of, that blockage. If Islam not dealing with color, it does matter in Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us into tribes and nations. And each one of them tribes and nations have lands. Each one of them lands has resources in it. No other tribe should come to another person's tribe land and exploit the resources. Yet you will find all of the world, whether they're Arab or white Jew or white Eastern or white Westerner, coming and exploiting Africa, which is the origin of us. Now, if there's Muslims, the Muslims, and so all of us we brainwashed, we're the only ones that keep it general, and everybody else keep it specific towards their own people. In the name of Islam, though, they use it sometimes. You see? So we have to really look at this. You go throughout your community, you have Pakistani stores, they're Muslim though, but they come together as Pakistanis, and they're Muslim, and they're using Islam, and some don't. The fact is, the one that's about the Islam, pan-Islam, and the one that's not pan-Islam, he still, in the end, will come and gather together with a people called Pakistani, or Saudi, or Arab. But you were the only one. I'm black. We're all Muslim. Yeah, and that makes it so that your struggle for you is worse. You come to the masjid, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Get some sadaqah. They look at you like what? They'll help you once, but then when it keeps 2, 3, but you have a condition which has not been addressed as an economic group of a people. You have to recognize yourself as a people, our qaumi. Inshallah. That's all I'm saying now. And you have to oppose anybody that does this racism, Muslim or not. You must step to them. Did not the Prophet ﷺ is narrated in one of the hadith, isn't it? He says, help your brother whether he's the oppressor or the oppressed. They said, Ya Rasulullah, I understand how I can help my brother when he's oppressed, but how do I help him when he's being oppressed? He's but stopping him from being oppressing. That is your help to him. You put that in the context of kith and kin, or who you're related to as blacks, then you have understanding. And for some of you who says you can't do that, yes you can, because when the Prophet ﷺ, before the Muslims, Kushite Arabians, black Arabians, went into fight against Rome and Persia, which were European culture that came in to dominate the region, when Islam came to remove their oppression, the Prophet ﷺ told the Sahaba, he told his family and the Sahaba, he said, listen, when you go into Egypt, be nice to the Copts, meaning the Egyptians, because there are kith and kin. Now mind you, the Copts are Christian. These are Muslim. Okay? When they went into Egypt, or Misr, The Prophet ﷺ told them, when you go into there, you treat them with kindness, because they're our kith and kin. So if Rasulullah ﷺ, according to the hadith and the seerah, said that the kith and kin of the black Arab Muslims at that time was the black Egyptians, and to treat them kindly, although they were Christian, what does that tell you, Akhi? You as a person that recognized Islam and became Muslim, or, you know, came into your Islam, you still have to recognize your brothers that are not Muslim, that are amer. We have a common problem, we're oppressed. An enemy does not care about, when the enemy looks at you, they're coming at you for a different reason. He's not caring if you're Muslim, he's not Muslim. He's looking at it as black, and he's supposed to be subservient on an economic level, and we're supposed to exploit them. So you thinking you trying to use your Islam to hide, that doesn't go out. You must stand up. You know, and I wore this on purpose because I knew some people would be thrown off by it. They're like, why this brother wearing this? See, this is part of what I do. Red, black, and green. I'm concerned about African people. I want African liberation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, you know what I'm saying, created us on a land. Adam alayhi salatu salam, made of black mud. Hama'a masnoon, black mud, shaped. Masnoon, shaped. Hama'a, black. See what I'm saying? From black mud. So his flesh was, he was black. Now, here's the key word I'm going to slip on you, and then we'll go into another session. If that's Adam and he's black, and the first Kaaba is built in Arabia, Kush Arabia, Black Arabia, then what did mankind, you know, and we know he worshiped Allah. And you find archaeologically wise in Yemen and Arabia, the oldest deity that's noted to be worshipped there before there even was an Allat, was an Allah. The fact is, these were originally Kushite or black Arabs, Arab-speaking people who are African Arabs, African. Okay, and even the geography of Arabia is like African geography. It has the same animals as Africa, plant life. So, of course, then the others that you see there that are not African, now black, are later on additions. And Ismail also was black, because like I said, the Sumerians or / Akkadians, the Chaldeans, you know, the Chaldeans are later after the Sumerians. And the Akkadians came with the Sumerians. So you know that Abraham has some type of Akkadian lineage going back to Eber. See, and the Eber is where the first time Hebrew is used. And you look at Eber and you look into this resources, you'll find that prophethood is Eber. Hood. And that's why Jews get the word Yahuda. Okay, or later variation of the word hood. Prophethood is where? In Arabia. So Hebrews originate up out of where? Arabia. Allah is the first name that's used for God in Arabia. And so therefore that's the original way of saying Allah, or Elohim, which is plural, or Allah, or Allah in Aramaic, or Allah in Akkadian. Okay, so I just want to address this issue with talk. Later on, I'll start bringing proofs out in my other sessions. So inshallah, we can get this ball rolling. We can address these issues within, you know, the QAUMI of African and black people, and get rid of the oppression that's going on, you know, inshallah. And I love all you queens, you sisters out there, you brothers, alhamdulillah. You know what I'm saying? We need to get on this, inshallah, and we cannot, you know, keep just being concerned only about Palestine, because originally that's connected to Africa too, as well as Jerusalem. You know, you got black Palestinians there. Look that up. Black Palestinians, black Iraqis, black Yemenis or Arabs. Look it all up. Okay, and inshallah, we'll talk more on that subject, because it's a thing that needs to be talked on. You know, And the baby's going off in the background. You know, she's really going off. But inshallah, I'm gonna make series out of a whole bunch of issues: Tawheed, the oneness of Allah, um, the study of the ancients and how they deviated, and I studied other sources besides, Quran and Hadith. I've studied Shia Hadith and Ahl Sunnah Hadith. I've studied, history, Kemetic history, ancient Egyptian history, Nubian history. I took it from a Pan-African perspective and a Eurocentric perspective. And so, inshallah, we're gonna, bring a lot of stuff to the table. We're gonna talk about banking and credit, later on, inshallah, and we're gonna talk about some street stuff eventually. How to get stuff cleaned up. And I know the Yahudi or the wannabe Jews, they're gonna oppress me in this. They're gonna come against me. At first, they might not do nothing, but I know the history. You study the history, and you know your enemy. So inshallah, and it's not just them. You got people in your own QAUMI, people that will oppress you because their mind has been dirtied with all these understandings, misunderstandings. So inshallah, my next series we'll start getting that going. Praise be to Allah, the eternal absolute, who is high in his might, who is glorious, and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen for him bringing all the messengers. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu is the last of messengers. There is none after him. And I bear witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a man or a woman, black or white. Allah is Allah. And the first people that were created were black. Adam, Hamad, Masnun. Excuse me. Okay, shaped and formed. Okay, and that they was made Khalifa of the earth at that time. We will discuss if that's applicable nowadays or has things changed, inshallah. But Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ma salam. Some people say ma salam. I just say wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. But mashallah. It seems like it's going longer than what I expected. So let me go ahead and view this. Let me try to do this real quick.